Yo, what's good, y'all? Y'all already know, man. Some stories in hip hop get remembered, some slowly fade away and get forgotten. Welcome to Remember the Era, man. Alright, man, so today we're gonna take a slight pivot over into the world of R&B. And we're gonna be discussing what I feel like is one of the biggest what if stories of the late 80s, early 90s as far as R&B go. Chris Bender, man, was tragically taken away at the age of 19 years old, and I believe had he continued to live, that he would have been one of the biggest R&B stars of the 90s, man. So we're gonna take a closer look at his story or whatever, and see what really happened, man. So let's get into it.
There are certain artists whose story almost don't seem real. Not because they became superstars, not because they sold millions of records, but because when you hear what happened to them, you can't help but sit back and think, man, what if? What if they had just gotten a little more time? What if they had made it out? What if life hadn't have intervened? Chris Bender is one of those stories. Born Christopher Lamont Bender on August 2nd, 1972, Chris grew up in Massachusetts, spending time in both Brockton and Waltham. From a young age, people knew he had something. Not just a decent voice, not just someone who could sing around family gatherings. People around him believed he had a genuine talent, the kind of talent that could change his life. And for a teenager growing up in the late 80s, there really wasn't a better time to have dreams of becoming an R&B singer. This was the era of New Jack Swing, the era of colorful jackets, cross colors, high top fades, soulful ballads mixed with hip hop drums. Groups like Guy were changing the sound. New Edition had matured, Keith Sweat was dominating, Troop was making noise, Johnny Gill was ascending, and labels were searching for young artists who could become the next face of R&B. Chris looked like he fit right into that world. And by the time he was 16 years old, he got his chance. Chris signed with Epic Records. For most teenagers, that would have felt unbelievable. Imagine being 16 years old, walking into a major label, recording songs, taking promotional photos, talking about music videos, thinking your entire life is about to change. For Chris, that dream materialized through his first album, Baby Doll. The lead single was called Baby Girl. There was excitement, expectations, plans. People believed this could be the beginning. But sometimes the music business can humble you very quickly. According to accounts surrounding the release, promotion was minimal. The video was reportedly never released. The project struggled. And before most people even knew Chris Bender existed, Epic Records moved on. Just like that. It was over. Or at least it should have been. Because most artists never recover from that. Getting dropped by a major label at 16 years old can destroy somebody's confidence. It can convince them that maybe they weren't good enough. Maybe the dream wasn't meant for them. Maybe it's time to move on. But Chris wasn't ready to quit. And thankfully, there were people around him who weren't ready to let him quit either. One of those people was his manager, Terry L. Calloway. Instead of allowing Chris to become another talented singer with unrealized potential, they regrouped. They kept working, they kept believing, and eventually, they secured something that most artists would never see in a lifetime. Chris reportedly signed a 7-album contract with East West Records, valued at approximately $500,000. Think about that. 19 years old, dropped once, written off by some people, and now you're sitting with another major opportunity, another chance, another door opening. Except this time, people believed this one was going to work. And in July of 1991, Chris released Draped. This was supposed to be the fresh start, the comeback story, the redemption arc. Fans who knew Chris Bender often mention songs like Pouring Like Rain. Others point to Who Will I Choose. There are listeners who revisit I Knew. And That's Not the Only Way found its own audience as well. But regardless of which songs people personally connected with, the important thing is Chris was building momentum. People were starting to notice. The industry was starting to pay attention. And for the first time, it genuinely seemed like Chris Bender was about to experience everything he'd worked for. He wasn't some veteran artist trying to hold on to fame. He was 19 years old. 19. He was just beginning. He hadn't even gotten to make mistakes yet. He hadn't had time to evolve. He hadn't released a sophomore album. He hadn't toured nationally. He hadn't done years of interviews. He was still introducing himself to the world. And then, November 3rd, 1991 happened. Around 2:17 in the morning, Chris was sitting inside his Mercedes-Benz near the Crescent Court housing projects in Brockton. This was where his mother lived. Inside the vehicle was Chris and his 17-year-old cousin, Jesse Starks. Accounts indicate they were talking, relaxing, smoking, doing what millions of young men do every day, spending time together, not knowing that within moments, everything would change. 3 hooded individuals approached the vehicle, and according to reports, 21 shots were fired. 21. The details become difficult to hear, not because they are sensational, but because they're heartbreaking. Reports indicate that Chris threw his own body over his younger cousin in efforts to protect him. Jesse survived. Chris was struck multiple times. 4 bullets entered his back. Another struck his elbow. He was transported to the hospital, but despite efforts to save him, Christopher Lamont Bender died at 19 years old. And just like that, one of R&B's biggest what-ifs was gone. The thing that makes Chris Bender's story so painful isn't simply that he died young. Sadly, we've seen young artists pass away before. It's the timing. Chris had already experienced failure. He had already tasted disappointment. He had already learned how quickly labels can move on. And somehow, he fought his way back. Most artists don't get a second chance. Chris got one. Most artists never sign one major deal. Chris signed 2. Most teenagers never see $500,000 attached to their name. But Chris did. Most people at 19 are trying to figure out college, trying to figure out jobs, trying to figure out who they want to become. Chris was trying to figure out how to become an R&B star. And based on everything we know, he was finally headed in that direction. Today, people still discover Chris Bender. People still play Draped. People still ask questions. People still wonder what his voice would have sounded like as a grown man. Would he have matured into one of the strongest male vocalists of the 90s? Would he have become a staple on Video Soul? Would he have crossed over? Would he have worked with producers who defined the decade? Would his second album have become a classic? We'll never know because Chris never got the opportunity. And maybe that's why his story still resonates. Because unlike artists who burn out after long careers, Chris represents pure possibility, potential, promise, a future that was visible but never arrived. And maybe the most beautiful part of his story is that his name didn't completely disappear. His nephew, who also carries the name Chris Bender, eventually finds success in gospel music, almost as if music never truly left the family. almost as if a small piece of Christopher Lamont Bender's dream continued to live on through another generation. That's bittersweet. But maybe it's fitting because while Chris Bender's life ended much too soon, the impact he left behind didn't. Sometimes artists leave behind platinum albums, sometimes they leave behind awards, and sometimes they leave behind a question. What could have been? Chris Bender may never be mentioned among the biggest stars of the early 90s, but for people who know his story, they understand he wasn't just another singer. He was a teenager who lost one dream, fought to reclaim another, and lost his life just as the second dream was beginning to come true. And maybe that's the real reason we remember Chris Bender. Not because of what he accomplished, but because of everything he still had left to accomplish. And that's an era worth remembering.
So y'all tell me, man, do y'all remember Chris Bender? If so, what song take y'all back? What song do y'all remember? You know what I mean? Was it Pouring Like Rain? Was it Who Will I Choose? For me, it's Who Will I Choose, because when that song came out, I believe I was in like the second grade, and I swear I could relate to it. I had like 2 or 3 girlfriends in the second grade, and I was trying to figure out who to choose back then. But y'all get in the comments, man, and y'all let me know what y'all favorite Chris Bender song is, man. And until next time, man, on your boy Sings from South ENT, y'all tap in, southentmusic.com. And until next time, man, peace.